always kind of just knew I was different though. Like it was one of those situations where I always kind of felt like I was out of place, or that I even kind of knew in the midst of everything I went through. It was kind of like, man, the crazy of this story is that when I get the glory, it's gonna make that much sweeter. You know, I always kind of in the back of my mind had that, and even when I had my phases where I let the negativity take over more, and I kind of stared away from it. I feel like something always pulled me back. I can honestly say something always pulled me back to, man, stuff like you want better. You need to, whether it be seeing someone around me get killed, someone going to jail, whether it be, I always just had a big heart seeing a homeless, like stuff that most people kind of laugh at, and just kind of, I always realized I had a passion for helping people, even almost to the extent of like helping somebody else over myself. Like I realized I was the type of person that would give somebody my last meal and I would be hungry and I'd be up there satisfied that they good. And I'm like, man, Stefan, you really do care about people. Like, you know what I mean? It's something in that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you say one of those things is helping people before you help yourself. Like, I feel like that, what I personally believe, that is a trait that almost all motivational speakers have to have. Like, you cannot be a successful motivational speaker unless you have that trait where you're willing to help others before yourself. So the fact that you study under Les Brown, I want you to tell me what that's like. Like, what do you get from that? What do you learn from him?
Oh my God, it's so amazing. And I want to tell you a crazy story with that, because my life is just stories, man, amazing stories. So, like 2015, I'm at work. I'm like a call center supervisor, and I got this guy, and he got fees on this account, crazy fees. And usually they only supposed to give back like one or two. But like I said, my big heart, man, I gave him all his fees back, because when I talk to you, if I feel that, I just feel the vibe. I'm like, some situation, I'm like, I get fired over this. Like, I feel like I did the right thing. And he was just like, man, I'm struggling, da 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 da. I'm like, man, I got you. He was like,
I wish you was my banker, bro. My banker.
Huh? I know, right? A lot of people used to say that. So he started crying, and he was like, man, you just don't know what you did. And I just was my normal motivational self. I always kind of had it in me. And he was like, man, what do you really want to be? Because I don't think it's no banker, because I mean, you're not the best banker. We kind of was making jokes. I was like, man, I don't know, I want to help people. He was like, have you ever thought about motivational speaking? And like I said, at this time 5 years ago, I didn't. My coach, a lot of people, we didn't even really know that. I didn't know what that was. To be honest with you, what motivate? I don't know. So he was like, man, you ever heard of Les Brown? I'm like, nah. He was like, listen to Les Brown. So it's crazy. Customers tell you all the time, do this, do that. Sometimes you're like, yeah, I got you, okay. But whatever. So I really wrote that down, and like the conversation was just I can't explain it. And it's like so much respect given on both ends, because I did something for him, but I did feel like he was doing something for me. He was like, man, I can just tell in your voice, you're gonna do great things one day. I'm gonna meet you one day, brother. And let me tell you my backstory. I was down and out. I was on drugs. I was really, really messed up, depressed. And I started listening to Les Brown, and it picked me up. And the reason I got these fees, because I've been out busting my butt trying to get a job. And you don't know how much of the world of difference you just did by doing that. I talked to 2-3 people before you. None of them wanted to help. Man, when I heard your voice, I just knew it was an angel. And that just hit me like, whoa. So I went home, I listened to Les Brown. And like from the beginning, I was like, man, I like this. Like, this is me. And it still took time. And over time, I feel like over the last few years, I had some dark moments. I ended up losing my dad in 2017. And man, I needed a lot of motivation after that. So, so it still took time. It still took healing. It still took the process. But when the pandemic hit, man, it was just
fruition. Yeah.
I knew I needed to leave a legacy. I was thinking, man, if I was to die right now, I haven't done anything. So fast forward to June. End up losing my job for a situation, but God is so good. The same week I lose my job, I see an email, because I used to always be that hope on a wish kind of guy. So back in 2015, once I got hooked on the Les Brown, I sent him messages like, hey man, I would love to learn from you. I feel like I'm next. Just like I'm the one. Just some like I used to just do stuff like that. So I get this message that said, you asked, here it is. And it says something like Les Brown compiled somebody to go through his inbox, and the people who reached out to him over the last few years. He got this class especially for them. So my brother thinking there's some generic messages and stuff. I'm sitting beside him. I'm like, nah, man, this is for me. I feel it. So I end up joining it on the day. Les Brown was really there. We was talking to Les Brown. And I've been in this program ever since. It's once a week. It's on Wednesday. And man, I learned so much. The first thing I learned is that speaking truly is an art. and it's an art to speak in it, and just punctuation and indentation and highs and lows and being able to really grab your crowd. And I watch Les Brown every single week, take 4, 5, 6, however many people time allows for the session, and they'll tell them their story. He will listen to it, and he will give it back to them in a way that it's just so beautiful, and I see tears, and they cry, and he said, "Man, go take that." Like I'm at a point. I'm 75. Like I done did it all. Like at this moment in time, it's about giving back to you guys. A lot of people get training from people who are speaking coaches and things like that, and they're not even successful speakers. I'm actually a successful speaker. I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm going to be that person that I wish I had when I was starting up. Because I remember how hard it was. And you got to feel that, man. Like this dude's 75. He still got it. He's 75. We know he got, other things going on and other things he can be committed to. And he's there faithfully every week. He gives us his all. And it's like, it's crazy. And after one session, I just sat around and I wrote a poem for him. And I got to read it to him, and he was so touched. And he told me that they're going to be working on a production for him, and he wanted the poem to be in it. And ever since then, I just had that connection with him, and it's just one of those things where it's like, wow, man, this is Les Brown. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like I feel like I manifest this into my reality. And it's just only a small sample of the things. Once I keep being positive, and I'm always that person that believe it can happen. It can happen. When everyone else is like, no, it can't, no, it can't. And I'm always like, I'm an example to go through everything I went through and still be where I'm at. Why not be positive? I know that there's a God. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So Les Brown handpicked the people that was sending him emails to give them a private class.
Yeah, that's how I started off, but it ended up being so successful that it's big now. It's like hundreds of people in the class, but it feels good that no, I was one of the original people, and it's so amazing because for me, it started off as a 7-week class back in June. This is way further than 7 weeks, and I'm still involved because just it's just so amazing, and it's one of the best things that I've ever been involved with in my life, to be honest. And to be honest, at that time, after the transition from not working, I was asking God for a sign. I was like, man, I stuck my neck on the line. I keep saying things like, I'm not going to work for nobody no more. Give me a sign. And then let's smoke right around the corner, man. And then it's like, not even just Les Brown. The craziest thing about it, it's the community of people involved with Les Brown as well. So we're all in this mastermind class, and it's hundreds of people from all over the country. A lot of them older than me, a lot of them my age, and so much wisdom. So many people doing things that we all have that common thirst for wanting to improve as speakers, but we all have different niches. And the visionary that I am, I can see how if I continue to develop my skills, and as they continue to develop their skills, and it's all the connections I know, I can see how we all can build and grow together. Like, I'm not competing, I'm trying to create together. And I can just see how, why not be positive? Why not be happy? I see that my future is much brighter than my past. One quote I think about is like, if you knew what was going to become tomorrow, you would not be so upset as you are today. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Well put, brother.
Yeah. So you're talking about how, like, that positivity is everything. It's about being that positivity yourself. Is that so? For our viewers who don't know, Sizzle has his own website. It's called Be the Void. And it's about, okay, you tell us what it's about. What is Be the Void about?
Gotcha. So the premise is just being the void that was missing. Like I said, one of the things, like you asked me, what really got me on this path, I always felt like the underdog. I always felt like I had valuable things to say. I just didn't always feel like people wanted, or some of that was in my head, I realized, just from my environment and just from that perceived nature, always growing up, always feeling not wanted, whether it be by, family members or parents or whatever the case, just going from person to person, place to place, no stability. I just always felt like the underdog, I always felt neglected. I always felt stepped on in a sense. So I felt like, I know I'm not the only person that feels that way. So essentially, I want to be the voice for the voices. I want to be the void, be that void that's missing. I think about so many cities. A lot of people used to always ask me, or just like my chivalry, or just little things I do. They'd be like, man, your parents raised you well. And I never say anything, but I'm thinking like, if you only knew, like, the reason I do the things I do, it's not because I necessarily in some situations how I was taught. It's just that I know the opposite of it, so I'm gonna be the void that's missing. Same with my daughter. Like I wasn't always giving great parenting tips growing up, but and even now, I just started recently in my life manifest mentors that I trust and that I'm willing to go to for advice. But the last few years, I was kind of freestyling it. You know, after my dad passed away, it wasn't really no man in my life that really could tell me anything on any kind of level. So I was doing everything on my own. So, but I did know one thing. I knew how my childhood was. I knew how I was neglected. I knew the things that I was missing, and I just started there. I started with all those things that I wished I had when I was a kid, and I'm like, I'm gonna give my daughter all the things I wish I had, and I figure everything else from there. And I see that it's manifesting. And I see the way she's growing up, and I just see that light in her, and I'm like, wow. At 6, I could think about at 6 the trauma that I had already experienced, and she doesn't know none of that. And I thank the heavens for that, because you know, if I was raising her in DC, who knows? You know what I mean? I just can't control that. But I'm just so happy I'm in an environment where she doesn't have to experience some of those things, man.
So, I mean, are young Black boys from urban areas, are they the population that you intend to reach specifically?
Yes, I tell people main thing is the children. I just have a soft spot for the children. Grown-ups too. You know, I don't want to inspire anyone, but grown-ups most times they too powerful. They think they know everything. The children, you know, I feel like some of my stories, I might can connect, and I just understand the young children so much more. Like when I see somebody and they reserved or whatever the case may be, I don't take it as personal. Like a lot of grown-ups, I tell grown-ups all the time, man. I feel like I'm in that crossbreed generation between like older and like younger. I have the maturity of an older person, but I still got that youthfulness of a younger person. And I tell people, you gotta meet them where they at. Like you always try to like stand up on your you know high pedestal and preach down, and they hear that all their life. They're not really trying to hit under that. They want somebody that's real, that's gonna be authentic, that's gonna meet them where they at. Sometimes you gotta step down on their level. Show them you understand their playing field from where they at. Because if you just try to tell them what the playing field they can get to, but you're not gonna really guide them from where they at, then that's kind of hard to stick. So for me, it's like I jump down, I be like, look, man, I was you. And I get them some stories, I get them some experience, whatever the case may be. And it's like, with that being said, I'm not even gonna tell you it's gonna be overnight. I'm not even gonna say I can tell you what to do. But what I'm saying, what I can tell you is I can be that guide. I can give you advice. You can come to me in situations. You can consult with me. A lot of high-end people, they have people around them. They have consultation. They have situations to make sure that they don't have to just make a decision all on their own. That's a lot of stress sometimes. And I want to help little dudes realize that you don't have to just make an emotional decision that's going to put you away for 15, 20 years. You know, if somebody played you, whatever the case may happen, you need to have an OG around or somebody around that can maybe I can, who knows what I can say that might can calm you down, that might make you be like, you know what, I'm not even gonna do that. And then to see that little boy 10, 15 years later owning his own business, or because I inspired him or whatever the case may be, and it's like, man, he was about to go the other way, but because of the things I said, because I understand when you're young, you don't know everything yet. You know, you kind of do need people around that's going to be able to help mold you in those senses, you know?
Yeah.
You brought up a few interesting points, man. When you said reaching that young boy before he make the decision that's gonna put him away for 15, 20 years, I specifically resonate with that man, because I actually got a cousin. My cousin's about 35 now. My cousin been incarcerated since he was 17. You dig?
Wow.
So he is that young man you're talking about. He's him that didn't have a person like you know, in his ear. You know what I mean? We lived in different states. You know what I'm saying? I knew he was ripping and running, but I didn't know to what extent he was ripping and running. And at that time, you know, 18 years ago, I wasn't ready, you know, on adult level to even be in this ear. You know what I mean? So
that's true.
You're a testimony that, you know, you've come from where they come from. And I tell people, you know, like I said, when you said meeting them where they at, you know, spoken like a true consultant, a professional consultant, because that's one of the main things you have to do when you're a coach of some sort, when you're a motivational speaker, or you're a counselor or therapist. You got to meet the person where they at. You can't move until they ready to move. When they ready to move, that's when you step with them. You know what I mean? If they ready to stay in this in this space for 15 days or 15 weeks, you got to stay with them until they ready to gesture forward. You know what I mean? So meeting them where they at, and not like, yo, They will listen to you, man. They're not going to listen to this suit and tie dude, you know what I mean, that went to Harvard. You know what I'm saying? They're going to listen to somebody that was in foster care. They're going to listen to somebody that, you know, has overcome their fair share of adversity and route to prosperity. You know what I mean? That's now standing on the same stage with Les Brown. Look at that, man. Went from foster care, you know what I mean, to rubbing shoulders with Mr. Brown, icon. He's an icon in the motivational speaking community. You know what I mean? All motivational speakers, they know we aspire Les Brown. You know what I mean? He's our guy.